St. John the Baptist Catholic Church, finished and consecrated in 1904. Monsignor Michael Heitz had a dream. He wanted to recreate a church he had seen in his home country of France in north central Kansas. And he needed help to realize that vision. He shared it with his parishioners. They supported it, rolling up their sleeves, quarrying and hauling this limestone, 5,500 cartloads of it, to erect the church building. 10 parishioners opened quarries on their land. This, of course, required much work and great sacrifice. But our 120-year-old St. John's community rests on the foundations those men and women laid. We can now say it was worth their effort. While those original builders of St. John's are long gone, we are their heirs. Whether by blood or association, they are our spiritual forefathers. We've inherited the faith they professed and the church building they left us. And now, it's in need of major restoration.
Welcome to the attic. It's all stone. Some people used to think that it was made of wood up here, but this is all laid up rock. The problems that we're having up here is 20 years ago we did do the roof and we put all new shingles in, but we kept the flashing. Well, there's two things going on. The flashing isn't holding up as well as it should. Rain can get driven underneath, gets flapping around a little bit. But the other issue that we have is every place where wood meets rock, that water can get into the rock, flow down and get down into this attic, run down the walls, and then get into and start flowing over the paintings that are on the side of the church. We also have the issue that the towers, over 100 years, are separating. There's probably about a 5-inch gap between the tower and the inside arches. Just from time and settling, the towers have moved out. Also, the walls are moving out just a little bit. So to try to alleviate that, we can't stop the towers from moving. In 2020, we got concrete all around the church so that we could get water to run away, but now we have to address the walls and the separation. So what we're doing is we're putting these saddles underneath the trusses because the walls have separated from the trusses or pulled out from the trusses a little bit. So basically we're adding a little more support under the trusses by anchoring to the walls and adding another 4-inch extension so those trusses have something good to rest on. Also, what we'll be doing here is we're going to go ahead and fill all these gaps back in with concrete so that in another 10-15 years we can look and see if there's any more separation, any more tower lean. Also, what we've done, we've taken extensive laser measurements of the walls up here so that in 10-20 years we can come back and we can remeasure to see if there's still more movement going on. We've got a lot of issues with the roofs, the flat roof at the very top of the towers. That stuff really wasn't addressed in 2000, but because of that, water is getting inside those towers and the main rafters going across the roof are starting to get in pretty bad shape. We're going to have to do some sistering and a repairing of those rafters, but then also at the very top level, we need to re-roof that. We don't want any rain going down into the stone. The shingles themselves aren't bad. They haven't quite performed like we had hoped they would. They're prone to a little bit of curling up as they age, and because of that, they're a little prone to high wind. If that was the only issue, we could probably live with it. But with the massive amount of work that we're having to do on the flashing, by the time you take all the edges off, you may as well just go ahead and take the whole roof off. When water comes down these surfaces, it hits these crickets here, and water can get down in that rock and continue on down through the church. So what we're trying to do is we're going to go ahead and cap this off with copper. Okay, a nice copper flashing bent over there, all the way up there, and then we'll turn the corner up here so that water goes away. This copper roof will be removed, and then all this will be the poly roof deck, and then that poly roof deck is going to come all the way up to here. Okay, just turn the corner and come all the way up to here so we can eliminate all opportunities for water to get in. Here we are, we're up on the scaffolding about light level here. We're on the west side of the church. And this is an example I like to show you of some of the damage that's happening when the water is getting into the church. You can see a lot of the stucco is gone, and you can see some of the grout's missing, and even at sometimes some of the rock is starting to pull away. This is why we got to stop the moisture from getting into the attic. And when you get up above the organ pipes in the choir loft, the damage is even worse. You have the serious gap, between the wall and the ceiling that has to be filled in. But we've got to control the moisture first. We've got to stop that. Then we can fill in and repair all this. We're up here above the choir loft. We're at the stained glass window above the south entrance. So in 2000, this whole structure all the way to the top of the church was removed all the way down to the top of the front entrance. And in that process, an expansion joint was put in down through here to try to control the cracking. Well, it did its job, but it's expanding too much. So we're going to be removing this front plate, and we're going to go all the way from the top and fill that expansion joint back in with concrete, because what has happened, it has moved out too much, and you can see we've got a gap where this wall, the frame and the wall are separating, and our window is not hanging in very well. So we have to address this. We're going to pull this covering off here and put all new concrete in and close that back up to try to tighten things up around this window here again.
In addition to the exterior and structural improvements and repairs for our church, we'll be updating and improving some of the interior aspects as well. You'll experience some of those improvements and additional beauty throughout the painting, through the restoration of our murals. We'll be getting a new lighting system so that we can truly see and appreciate that beautiful paint job. Also be installing an updated sound system so that we can truly hear and participate in the liturgy of the Word and in the worship of God. We'll also be getting new solid wood oak pews to replace our pews that have experienced some wear and tear over the decades. And these are just some of the improvements that you will see in the new church to truly improve our experience of the worship of God.
As you can see, there's a lot being done. This is what it looks like now, and this is what it will look like when the interior is done. Today, just as it was with our forefathers, it's worth our effort. I need each individual and every family to join me in this call as we see the vision laid out before us. The time to support our project is now. This is our moment. Let's prepare the way.